Hi, I'm Bryce, and today I'm joining hundreds of Aucklanders, thousands of New Zealanders, and hundreds of thousands of people all around the world in marching against Monsanto.
Give yourself a big pat on the back because it's a really good turnout. It is the rights of the majority of people of the world versus big business.
So many people don't want it, and they know that it's causing problems like cancer, affecting the immune system. It crosses the barrier from a pregnant mother to the unborn baby. Messing around with DNA is extremely dangerous. So I think more and more people are understanding that, but have been feeling very powerless. And if there's one thing that can happen out of today, it could be the re-empowerment of people to come out and say, no, this is not right.
My sister died of leukemia from what I believe was toxic chemicals. She was in a small country school in the Waikato, and out of her class of 12 children, she would have been 60 today. Out of her class of 12 children, there's only 2 alive. That area was blanket sprayed with 2,4,5-T for grass crop, and that's what makes me stand here today. It's my story.
Monsanto's first profit-making adventure was the development of the atomic weapon. Monsanto's other profit-making adventures include developing Agent Orange, the nuclear testing program, aspartame. They developed Roundup. They developed PCB sites, which are poisoning the environment. You can see their track record doesn't actually point to being life-sustaining. Their track record is not good. And if the leopard has changed its spots, it's on the grounds that the GE foods will produce more. They produce more, but the reality of the science is they don't produce more. What they produce is a 26% increase in the poisons and insecticides needed to grow them. But they own the insecticide factory, so they're making a good profit from that.
In Hawaii, where the chemical GMO companies have been for a few decades testing their new technologies, it's become a struggle even to regain our most basic of democratic and human rights. Once these companies become entrenched, their power becomes very, very difficult to challenge. We can't even get our state to pass laws mandating that they tell us what kinds of chemicals they're spraying next to primary schools that are sending dozens of children home vomiting and with nosebleeds. And at the U.S. national government level, it's far worse. People are probably familiar with the infamous revolving door between Monsanto and the federal government. As resistance across Hawaii and the U.S. is growing, the strategies of these companies has become even more outrageous. Most people have probably heard about the Monsanto Protection Act, or the push to prohibit states from passing labeling laws, the selling out of our universities, the massive amounts of money being spent to deceive the public, and the suing of farmers. But what people might be less familiar with is how the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, the TPPA, is seeking to push this very same anti-democratic regime onto New Zealand, as well as the 9 other countries that are involved. The TPP could amount to the biggest corporate takeover this country has ever seen, essentially putting the rights of corporations above those of elected governments. If you don't want GE salmon, or you at least want it labeled, too bad. Under the TPP, corporations could challenge this as a barrier to trade and essentially take you to court for it, forcing the government to pay millions in damages for their lost profits. While we can't know the exact details of the TPP because it's being conducted in secret, we can know that it's advancing a food future that is designed by Monsanto, DuPont, and Syngenta, one where the only logic is profit accumulation based on enclosure and exploitation of our commons, rather than one that's built around values of justice, sustainability, and democracy. Because we know that in fact there is no social benefit when 6 corporations are allowed to monopolize the very basis of the world's food supply, and because we know that we are capable of feeding and nourishing ourselves and everybody on the planet in a way that is sustainable, democratic, and does not include down there, BASF or Monsanto.
TPP agreement is incredibly important. As a practical example, if a tobacco company comes to New Zealand under and we're in TPP, and the government decides to ban smoking because it kills you, the tobacco company doesn't mind, because they can then sue the country for all of their loss of profits. If they get rid of Pharmac, an American pharmaceutical company who produces a drug that has been banned in America, and let's face it, there aren't many that are banned in America, but they can decide that New Zealand will use that pharmaceutical, and if we turn around in our courts and say, no, I'm sorry, we don't want it either, it's poisonous, they can then sue the government. This has already been done for $500 million, not to us. They can sue the government for their loss of profits. In other words, they get their profits whether you use the products or not, which is why we want to be very careful about the TPPA. Don't come here today and think because you stood in the rain and listened to a whole lot of rhetoric, you've actually done something.
Honestly, it's not about a numbers thing, this. It's about actually getting off your butt, off your Facebook, off your iPod, out of your home, and actually doing what we're doing now.
The world is being polluted, and there is a huge market for clean food. Huge. There is a huge black market for clean milk products. There is a huge black market for clean honey. We can actually economically make far more money in this country by producing clean food than